Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Hit share, go ahead and share with your friends, or you can hit that little bell to get notifications when new patterns release.
Hi everyone, I'm Crystal. Welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. Today we are going to be making this really gorgeous romance garden shawl. Now this shawl is a 6-row repeat. I did do 6 repeats on the one that you see here. You will end on your border is actually part of your repeat, so there's not a different pattern for the border. So we are consisting of flowers. I like these, they're fans, but they're like little trellises from the flowers. All right, the yarn that we are using today is Yarn Bee. This is a discontinued color called French Rose. It's a 270 yard skein, 6mm hook. I used about 2.5 of these skeins, and it is 70% wool and 30% viscose. The materials we're gonna need today are, of course, our yarn, our scissors, our hook, a tapestry needle for your ends, and you are going to want a stitch marker. And that's really just because this pattern is a really fast pattern. It works up really quickly, and you can just go right over your ends pretty easily without even meaning to. Okay, so getting started on our shawl, you can make a slip knot, you can make a chain and working into your first chain, or you can chain 4 and slip stitch to the first. Whatever is most convenient for you and how you like it. I'm going to chain 4, and I'm going to work into my first chain. So this chain 3 is going to count as my first double crochet. Now I'm going to put 2 more double crochets into that first chain, and then I'm going to chain 2 and put 3 double crochets. That's going to complete my first row. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. All right, so I'm going to put my stitch marker in there. And now getting started on row 2, we're going to chain 4. Now that's going to count as your double crochet and as your chain space. Turn your work and double crochet into the first stitch. So we've got a V-stitch, it looks like, into that first stitch. Okay? Chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next space, the next stitch, which is the last double crochet of that side. Now we're going to chain 1 into the corner space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And now I'm going to move up my stitch marker. Chain 1, double crochet into the first double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the last. Chain 1 and 1 more double crochet into that last stitch. So our increases are happening at the ends here and also in the middle. All right, getting started on row 3, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, and put 2 double crochets into that first stitch. And now you're going to put 1 double crochet into each stitch and chain space. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. Now working into our corner space, we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Move up your stitch marker to your new corner space, which is that chain 1 space. Just like that. And now we're going to double crochet down the other side into every double crochet in every chain space. So you'll be adding 9, and at the end of this row you'll have 11 double crochets per side with a chain 1 corner space. Make sure that in your double crochet row that you have 3 stitches at the end. Now we're going to chain 4, turn your work, and double crochet into the first stitch. This row is going to consist of V-stitches. The first V-stitch is always going to be worked into the first stitch. The second V-stitch is always going to be worked into the third stitch. So we're skipping 1 and V-stitching into the next. Now we're skipping 2. Skip 2, V-stitch into the third. Again, skip 2, V-stitch into the third. Chain 1, oops. And now we're at our corner space. So you've got 2 stitches left on this side, and into our corner space, let's move that stitch marker. Into the corner space, we're going to do a V-stitch, chain 1, and then another V-stitch. So that chain 1 space that is separating your V-stitches, that will be your new corner space. Now you're going to skip the first 2 stitches and into the third V-stitch, skip 2 into the third V-stitch. Skip 2 into the third V-stitch. And you should have 2 stitches left. You'll skip the next stitch, and into the last stitch of the row, we're going to put our last V-stitch. And this will be the end of row 4. Row 5 are our flower rows. We're going to chain 6, turn your work, and single crochet into the first chain space. Now into the first V-stitch, which is your first chain space. Now into the next V-stitch, we're going to build a flower. So our flower is going to consist of 3 double crochets, a picot, which is chain 3, and then I slip stitch to the top and the side of my double crochet. I feel like it sits a little bit nicer. And then I'm going to put 3 more double crochets. Working into the next V-stitch, I'm going to put 1 single crochet. Into the next one, I'm going to build my flower. That's 3 double crochets, picot, and 3 double crochets. With this pattern, we're going to have 2 kinds of flowers. We're going to have the flowers along the sides, and then we're also going to have a large flower for the middle. It's not very much bigger, but it's just a tad bigger. So let me show you. In between every flower, you'll have a single crochet. So the last V-stitch on this side, you'll have a single crochet, and into this corner space, that's where we're going to build our large flower. So the large flower is going to have 3 double crochets, 1 treble crochet, so you're yarning over twice, and then a picot. Treble crochet after your picot, and then 3 double crochets. Single crochet into the next V-stitch. Moving down the other side, well, let's look at this. You should have 2 small flowers with a single crochet into the V-stitches on either side, and then a larger flower. Now we're going to put 2 more flowers on this side. So we've got your single crochet, build your flower, 3 double crochets, picot, 3 double crochets. After your last flower, you'll have 1 more V-stitch. So what you're going to do is single crochet into that last V-stitch, chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet into the same one. And this is what your fifth row, this is what your 5th row will look like. Row 6, we're going to chain 3, turn our work, and double crochet into that first chain space. Now this is going to be our fan stitch. We're going to have 2 fans, a large fan and a small fan. Small fan is going to consist of 3 treble crochets. The large fan will consist of 5. Our fan placements are going to be into the single crochets between our flowers. And they're going to be separated by chain spaces. So chain 1, 1 treble crochet into that single crochet, chain 1, 2 treble crochets. Oops. Chain 1 and your 3rd treble crochet. That's your small fan. Chain, treble, chain, treble, chain, treble, all into the single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1, skip our flower, and into the single crochet on the other side, we're going to put in another fan. Whoops. Trebles. All of your treble crochets should be separated by a chain space. So now that's 2 small fans. The single crochet up here after your last flower, you're going to have a large fan on either side, both sides of your large flower. So we're going to put 5 treble crochets into that space. 1, chain 1, 2, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4, chain 1, and the last one is 5. After your 5th one, you're going to have a chain 1 space, and that's going to be your new corner. So your corner is going to be in between your 2 large fans. Now your next large fan, we're skipping over the middle flower, and you're going to work your next large fan into the single crochet between the next 2 flowers. So 5 trebles separated by chain spaces. that is 5. Okay, so now you're going to chain 1, work a small fan into the next single crochet, and then you're going to work another one, of course, at the end after that flower. Your last fan will always fall at the end, right before your chain 6 from the previous row. So then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to put 2 double crochets into that last chain space, just like that. And this is what the end of your row 7 should look like. Okay, so getting started on row 8, we're going to chain 3, turn your work, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into the first stitch. This row is a row full of double crochets. So you are going to, other than your first 3 double crochets in the first stitch, you're going to put 1 double crochet in each and every stitch and chain space all the way across. Okay, so when you get to your corner space on your row 7, you're going to put 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet into the corner space, and then we're going to move up our stitch marker to our new corner. And then we're going to double crochet all the way down the side with 3 double crochets in the last stitch. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back at the beginning of the next row. All right, here's what your row 7 should look like when it's completed. You should have 27 double crochets per side. From your middle stitch marker, 27 this way and 27 that way. Now, row 8 is going to be our fillet row. So we're going to chain 4, counting as a double crochet and a chain space. Double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next. That's your mini repeat. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. You're going to do that all the way to the end, or all the way to the corner. The last double crochet of your row should fall on top of the last double crochet from the previous row. Now into the chain space, which is into our corner space, we are going to chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and that middle chain space is your new corner. All right, chain 1, and now we're going to double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet to the end, and we will have a V-stitch in the last space. Okay, this is what the end of your row 8 will look like. You should have 16 double crochets per side with the chain spaces in between. getting started on row 9. Row 9 is a repeat of row 3, also a repeat of row 7. So it's going to consist of double crochets all the way up and double crochets all the way down. Our first double crochet will have 3 double crochets in the beginning and 3 double crochets in the end. When you get to your chain space, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. So chain 3 and put 2 more double crochets here. Double crochet into each and every stitch and chain space. Now we're at our corner space, and in this corner space we're putting 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets. So the difference with this double crochet row and the previous double crochet row that's on top of our fans, one sec. The difference between this double crochet row and this double crochet row is here you have 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. That's your corner. But in this one we have 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. In both of them, we have 3 double crochets at the end, on the sides, the beginning and the end. So go ahead and work your double crochet down the side with 3 double crochets at the end, and I will meet you back at the beginning for our V-stitch row. Here we are at the end of row 9. You should have 35 double crochets on each side. Now, that's your repeat. The repeat that we're doing is rows 6 to 11. So 6 is our fan row, 7, 8, 9, but 10 and 11 are our V-stitch rows and our flower rows. So you're gonna end on a flower row for your border. So I'm gonna work through the next 2 rows with you just one more time, and then I'm gonna leave you to go ahead and complete the rest and, you know, make it as long as you like. So on our V-stitch row, we're chaining 4, and we're double crocheting into that first stitch. We're skipping 1 stitch and double crocheting into the next, well, V-stitching into the next. And now we're gonna skip 2 stitches all the way down. So we're gonna put a V-stitch in every 3rd stitch. So you're gonna continue to skip 2, V-stitch in the next. When you get to your corner space, you're gonna have a V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch, and that chain 1 space is going to be your new corner. Moving down, you will skip your first 2 stitches, V-stitch into your 3rd, all the way down until you have 2 stitches left, and you will skip your 2nd to last stitch and V-stitch into your last. And I will meet you back at the end of that round. So here we are at the end of row 10. This is what your work should look like. You should have a total of 13 V-stitches on this side and 13 on this side. Now on this one we had 5, so we're going to increase by 8 V-stitches for each repeat. So it's going to help you to stay on track. Now let me show you the last row. This is the row that you're going to end on for your border when you get to the size that you want. We're chaining 6 and we're single crocheting into the first V-stitch. And remember our flowers, double crochet 3 times, picot, and then 3 more double crochets. single crochet into the next V-stitch, and put a flower in the next. Single crochet, flower, and you should end all the way up at your last V-stitch with the single crochet, working the large flower into your border, single crochet into the next, and then working the small flowers all the way down the side with a chain 3 and double crochet into the same V-stitch as your last one. Okay, now with our flowers, here we had 2 flowers and a large flower, and on this side, your increase repeat, you're gonna increase by 4 flowers per repeat. So you'll have 6 flowers going across, 1 large flower in the middle, and then 6 flowers going down. I'm gonna leave the link below. When the written pattern is available, it should be in the next day or 2, the link will be there. I'm also going to include a chart, so if you're a chart reader, then that will be helpful. I'm left-handed, so I'm putting all my videos up in left-handed and right-handed videos. I really appreciate you guys watching today. Meet me back in just a minute so you can see the end of row 5. Finish your shawl. Remember, we are ending on our row 5. So you won't have to do any extra things for the border. This is your row 5, and if you were to do a repeat, you are repeating rows. The fan row to the flower row. So technically in the pattern, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're repeating rows 6 to 11, but row 5 is the same thing as row 6. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the little notification bell if you'd like to get notified, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.